Order. The Mayor.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and especially you grandchildren over there. Hope you enjoy what you're about to see. Thank you. Please be seated. First of all, item 1 will be the evacuation procedure. There is a location plan on the exits and the assembly points situated on the doors of this room. Please familiarise yourself with it. On discovering a fire, please carry out the following: sound the alarm, attack the fire if possible, and safe to do so using appliances provided. On hearing the evacuate signal, please carry out the following: exit the building by your nearest exit, which is the way you came in or directly behind you. All visitors report to assembly point G, which is that side of the car park. All staff report to their designated assembly points on Woolpack Way car park. Do not leave the assembly point for any reason until to do so by the incident controller, who will be Mr. Maxey, or a fire brigade officer. Evacuation procedure. Thank you. Item 2 is to present, very good thing to do this, long service pendants to the following: Councillor Hayfield. Oh, you know what, I should read this one that you gave me as well. Sorry. I'm going out as I started. I get it wrong. So we've got that. So I will ask everybody to stand for a minute's silence in respect of Reg Place, who served in this council for many, many years. In fact, I believe he was a leader here for 24 years. So if you could be upstanding, please. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd now like to ask anybody who would like to comment on Reg Place as a councillor and as a person. Thank you. Anybody who would like to speak? Councillor Gosling.
Thank you. When I first met Reg, it was after COVID, and obviously the restrictions have been lifted, and I just accepted the position as leader of the Labour Group. And as I walked into the house, there was a low growling voice that said, "Come on then, let's see this new leader." A little bit intimidating from a man that's done 40 years of public service and 3 decades nearly in the job. But of course, after welcoming me into the house, surrounded by his family in a bustling environment as always, he was warm, welcoming, polite, and a good guy. He was absolutely fantastic. For all his many, many achievements on this council, I think he's formed the foundation of the council and the borough that we serve in today. His work from trips to Brussels, work with the European Union to support ex-miners, to support people affected by pit closures, to bring jobs in from TNT, and his work on the National Employers Organisation for 32 years to support families and to increase the prosperity of our borough. He was instrumental in bringing forward a number of award-winning policies, Borough Care being one of his proudest, I know. And from talking to those that served under him, he was simply the leader. And as we've already referred to, the long service, 24 years of being the leader of this council. But most people just simply refer to him as a good bloke, mentioned his golfing and his passion for his family, his community, and for the borough to improve lives. But also people talked about the times that they served. I believe that it was a regular occasion at the time for the first movement in the council to be that to revoke the smoking ban, which has recently been enforced while Reg's been sat there and lit up his pipe. The infamous pipe that I believe that despite everybody referring to him as being fair, true, passionate, and committed to the best of everybody, and somebody that most sides could get on with, when the pipe was tapped, I believe the fireworks were about to start. That said, everybody also agrees that he was a good person to get on with, and despite having frictions and arguments and debates and passionately defending what he believed to be correct, the next day all was done and he would work with anybody. To the extent that I believe the consensus was formed so strongly that 9 out of 10 budgets were passed uncontested on both sides of the House, and many aspects of the council business were done together. I also am to understand from his family that he did not want huge fuss, did not want a big funeral, and wanted monies and the times to be spent celebrating his life quietly so that he could pass away. So I shall say no more. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Anybody else would like to make a comment? Okay, thank you very much. The next item is item 2, presentation of long service pendants. Councillors Colin Hayfield, Aidan Phillips and Mark Simpson. And so Colin Hayfield, 25 years.
And the rest.
We've got to go over here. Shall we do them all at once?
Yeah, call them all upon.
Yeah. Would you like also Councillor Hayden Phillips, 33 years. Councillor Mark Simpson, 25 years. And we're going to do it all over here at the same time. One photograph. And unless it's like a bad ballot, you want a photograph on your own, we can do it again. Thank you. Here, apparently. Oh. So I'm going to stick that on. Where does it go? Well, that's on this side.
Don't really want to answer that.
I didn't know that. This isn't going to go, is it? No. I think they're given a blue one, wasn't they? Councillor Simpson. Oh, you got one already. That's me, That's yours. So we're going to have a photograph together here. The white background.
Just going to try and get some feedback. If you can group together as fast as you can. One end a little bit.
Breathing.
Quite nice.
Because we're all photogenic.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. I would like to ask each of the recipients to say a few words. Only a few. Thank you. Councillor Hayfield? Hayfield, sorry. Phillips. It shocked me. I told you I was crap.
I can do no more than add to Councillor Hayfield's eloquence. Thank you very much. It seems a long time coming, doesn't it? Yeah, almost blink of an eye, and it's 30 years have gone. All that fun. Yeah, thank you. It has been fun. Thank you.
Councillor Simpson.
It sort of brings to mind the t-shirts. I went to the council house for 33 years and all I got was this gone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
And can I say thank you for all the service that you've given this council on both sides of the, and there's no doubt from what I've seen over the years that I've been here, you've always done it with the best intentions for the best of the borough. And thank you very much. Item 3, election of the mayor. Councillor Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Earlier on today, Mr. Mayor, I was taken back to 2003 when I was in Councillor Hayfield's position. And in 2003, Councillor Hayfield proposed my nomination to be mayor of the borough. He had a very eloquent, charming, witty speech, which, if I were to paraphrase it, he said basically vote for Mark because he's fat enough to be mayor. Mr. Mayor, revenge is a dish served cold, and I think I've waited long enough to get my own back and say vote for the fat one. Colin's life on the council started in 1991. Like me, he had an enforced sabbatical for 4 years, from 1995 until 1999, and has been a member of the authority ever since. During that period, he went on to be leader of the council and achieved, he tells me, many things too numerous to remember. He didn't do well. He did. But I do remember on one occasion, we have a joint GP, and she suggested it was about time for Colin to maybe lose a few pounds. And as ever, being a man of action, Colin shaved off his moustache and went and had a haircut. His life is not just about politics. He has done lots and lots of things. The memorable ones are when he was a pig farmer and when he had ducks and geese, the most ferocious goose in the whole of the borough from memory. He also has had a very significant interest in history throughout the time that I've known him, evidenced perhaps by his life at Church Farm, where if you ever go to the front door and you try to find Colin, you won't. He's hiding in a hole in the back garden, very much like the chap on The Life of Brian, sitting there protecting his juniper bushes. Colin's hole in the back garden is allegedly an archaeological dig. But like most British archaeologists, he's found bits of old bones and old pots, but never a golden statue or anything of any interest whatsoever. To go with his historical interest, he is actually a fellow of the Society of Antiquaries of London. Now, most of us say it's about time for him to retire that because he's old enough to go on the cabinets for their display case. Colin graduated from the University of Nottingham with a degree in history and archaeology. He then went on to do a doctorate in archaeology, and after that moved to work at the University of Birmingham as an archaeologist in the geography department. He's undertaken a lot of research in a fascinating subject of medieval ceramics. So if ever you're bored and want an interesting conversation on medieval ceramics, Colin is your man. He's also part-authored and joined together with Andrew Watkin on writing a lot of local books on history. Well-known bestsellers, Council Remembered, Shustok Half Remembered, somewhere else completely best forgotten. Within local politics, Colin has also, during his time, been on just about every local authority that he could be. He's been on Colsall Town Council way too long. He was a member of the County Council for 20 years. And I believe as well, he's been mayor of Coleshill twice. So he has got some practice in the chain gang and shaking hands and going to buffets and enjoying the civic life. I think it's fair to say there were a number of themes in Colin's life. His house, history, his family, and it's great to see Jan and Colin's, part of Colin's children and his grandchildren. If anybody deserves a long service medal, I think they're sitting over there rather than but Colin has been a dedicated public servant for an awful long time. He's seen a lot of mayors, knows the ropes, understands, Mr. Mayor, how to work through an agenda, and I think he will do a great job. Members, I was told that part of my speech was to encourage you to vote for Colin. So please vote for my friend Piglet. I hope that in 12 months' time we can all come back, look on a year served well and say, what a vital mayor he was.
Do we have a seconder for that proposal? Councillor
Fowler. Very short, Mr. Mayor. Excuse my voice. Mr. Mayor, it's very hard to follow somebody like Mark, who's known Colin far longer than I, and especially you've written down a number of things, and he's just said most of what I just said. But I do have to say, Mr. Mayor, I would like to second the nomination for Colin to be the mayor for the ensuing year. Yes, you mentioned Mark, the town council. Colin and I were both town councillors together on Coleshill Town Council, and you just echoed that Colin was the mayor twice. And in actual fact, we were both elected at the same time, way back in 1991, and then we returned back in 1999. I disappeared to other places, but Colin has been here for 25, and I have to say, Mr. Mayor, it's 25 years plus. And as well as being here, as Mark has just alluded to, that Colin was actually elected to Warwickshire County Council, indeed like myself, in 2001. And as actual fact, if I recall, if I'm right, Colin, that you were portfolio holder for education and health at the County Council and did a sterling job there. And as Mark has just said as well, that Colin became the leader of North Warwickshire Borough Council from 2003 to 2011. And I do recall when we sat in the office, usually on a Monday, that if Mark would come in, the first thing he would say, "Hello, Porker," alluding to his weight, which I always thought was a bit uncomfortable, but he saw the funny side of it. And as Mark has said about Colin producing those, remembering Coleshill and Shursburg, etc., which I've got all those books, Colin, by the way. And the one funny thing is that Mark has mentioned about Colin being an archaeologist, and the late Gordon Sherratt, who was a borough councillor and the town council. We actually had a family called the Gascoignes, and they have what is known as Gascoignes Funeral Parlour, which they've now sold on. But it was always funny because Gordon always made the joke about it was amazing that the Gascoignes used to bury people, and Colin would come along and bury them back up and dig them back up again, which I always thought we thought it was such a funny thing to say. But Mr. Mayor, I have to say that Colin's time and dedication to the people of North Warwickshire over these 25 years plus has been, as Mark said, has been exemplary. And not only does Colin deserve the long-standing service award tonight, he should also be honoured with the position as mayor to continue to serve the residents of North Warwickshire. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Okay, in that case, can we put it to the vote, please? All those in favour? Any against? Any abstentions? Carried. That's carried. Thank you very much. Thank you for the declaration.
I, Colin Hayfield, having been elected to the office of Mayor of North Warwickshire Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability.
Okay. Now I can take him outside and get this sauna off.
All rise. Order. The mayor.
Kept his beard.
Drink coffee. Thank you. The other sheet I left behind with the pension.
Give them the glasses. Sort of very narrow. Right. Says new mayor in the chair speech. I won't keep you very long because I've got various things I want to say, but I'm going to say the mayor's announcements a bit later on. I'd say thank you very much for your support. I hope I can justify it. And to my proposer and my seconder, thank you for most of what you said. I'm sure we will get opportunity to get back again on that. My next job is to present badges to the retiring mayor and mayoress, which I should have somewhere. Past the mayor's page. That looks like it. There you go. Might have been done. I get it on the wrong side, Simpson or Moan.
Yeah.
That's a change. Always one of these fatty things. Get having to do.
Yeah.
It's hanging on in there.
Well,
Oh, actually, what have you got?
thank you very much.
Maybe I'll have to make it secure.
And coming as well.
Which I've pretty done too. I haven't been able to actually manage the clasp yet, so you have
Shall
to,
I do it?
yeah, save a lot of fuss and fun on your heads. On my part, didn't it? This isn't done properly either.
No. Sure, don't worry about it.
Thank you very much. David, do you want to say anything?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for that, and fellow councillors, thank you very much. You know, when I first became a councillor, actually, first thing I looked at was the amount of money that was spent on the mayor, and we slowly but surely been spending less and less and less. And I thought, what's the mayor all about? And actually, in the early days, I would have done away with it. I would have thought we don't need a mayor, not realising until you become, long before you become mayor, the amount of what other people in the public actually want the mayor to be available. And actually, having been the mayor as well, and prior to that, when I was the chair at the county, the amount of offers, the things that come, forget like the chain gang, we did a bit of chain gang, but actually we don't go to every single invitation that comes in. But the great majority of invitations that we've had, Marion and I have been to the charities that we've been to, dementia, prostrate, all sorts of charities you can imagine. The charity that I've sort of supported as well, which is the Warwickshire Rescue Service. We've done award ceremonies with where BEMs have been presented and awards for services to various things like the health service, libraries, everything. It's been absolutely wonderful. So I'm a supporter of the mayor in the sense that you ask, the mayor in generally will come. And I would like to say thank you very much to Colin, because when I had my operation on my back and then I lost the sight in the right eye and had to have an operation, couldn't do anywhere, he stepped in valiantly and went to the other bits and pieces where I couldn't go. And I'll say thank you very much for that. So in my opinion, we need to support the mayor. The mayor can support the charities and the people, if they ask, I think the mayor of North Warwickshire should come and go. And so thank you very much for the faith you put into me, and I hope I served as good as I could possibly do, and everybody's happy with what was done, and that the people who invited us were happy that North Warwickshire Borough Council turned up at those events. Thank you very much.
Councillor Cole is going to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of all board members, I'd like to thank Councillor David Humphreys for his term as mayor. He's attended, as he said, numerous events representing North Warwickshire, demonstrating what a vibrant, caring and progressive borough we are, and also showing that size doesn't matter. We may be small, but we always punch above our weight. So it's been brilliant that he's been representing this. And also thanks to Marion, who's been with him on most, if not all of these events, ensuring he's on time, suitably dressed, and remembering his chain most of the time. So well done.
The only time I didn't bring it, she wasn't here.
David's been unfailingly pleasant, good-humoured, amusing and even-handed in chairing our council meetings. He's famous for his anecdotes, and we've been treated to quite a few from the mayor and chair, which we're very grateful. Thank you. And of course, David's chaired our meetings in his own very individual way. And I think all members of the council now are very conversant with all the processes and procedures of running our meetings. And we're also getting quite adept at prompting at the right time where appropriate. So thank you for the education, David. Thank you for the way you've chaired. It's been really very amusing. And of course, David's met all his duties despite his health problems. And recently, of course, I joined him in the Limited Mobility Club. So I've spent quite a lot of time with David in lifts, walking slowly behind other people as they go on. And of course, waiting for more agile colleagues to return from the less accessible reaches of planning site visits. So during that time, of course, we've had lots of time to chat, and I've come to understand seriously just how much pain he's in a lot of the time and how difficult it is for him to walk unaided. So despite all this, it's not stopped him from attending all his mayoral events, all the board meetings, and even planning visits on a Saturday morning. He's done all that. So he's been determined to carry on as usual. Thanks, David. So thanks very much for your commitment. The mayoral robes have suited you well, and you've done us proud. Thank you very much.
Item 4, apologies or absence of members away on official council business. Do we have
Mr. Mayor, just Councillor Riley as previously reported.
Councillor Riley's business? Any declarations of personal or prejudicial interest? Nothing around the room. Nobody's waving at me. Item 6, to move and sign the minutes of the last meeting. At the end of our agenda, we've got a closed session bit where we have to just approve minutes that deal with that. And what I'd like to do is add those on if they're non-contentious, and usually the minutes are non-contentious. So we do approve all those minutes in one go, which I'm advised we can do. So can I have a proposer that?
I'll move, Mr. Mayor.
And seconder for, thank you, Councillor Jarvis. All those in favour of approving minutes? John, good. Item 7, appointment of Deputy Mayor, Councillor Jens.
Thank you, Mayor. First, just congratulate you on your election. I think the council today has made a very good decision. Congratulations too on your long service award. Mayor and councillors, I would like to nominate Councillor Gordon Gates as Deputy Mayor for the second year. I first got to know Debbie in the early part of the pandemic. At that time, she helped to establish. I say helped. I think she did establish Kingsbury Good Neighbours, which was a group that dealt with supporting the community in Kingsbury through the COVID pandemic. That group did all of the things that you would expect of any of those fantastic community groups that were set up at that time, keeping in touch with people who were living alone, collecting prescriptions for people, delivering shopping. But under Debbie's leadership, it also managed to fund and provide laptops for pupils at both Kingsbury High School and Kingsbury Junior School, so that pupils could work from home. And from that, it went on to produce a monthly newsletter that was delivered to every home in Kingsbury throughout the pandemic. It ran an Easter egg hunt in the village for the local children, provided hot Christmas meals for elderly residents and Christmas hampers for families. It provided a village Christmas tree, organised a donation at various collection points of Christmas presents for less well-off families, and organised the wrapping of them. And it organised the collection of the no longer needed equipment for the medical equipment that was returned to the NHS, and I particularly remember that prompted me to dig out a pair of crutches that I'd almost forgotten we got. I took it along and Debbie got it back to the NHS, which is fantastic. Of course, the success of any group depends on all the volunteers who are involved. And I know Debbie would be the first to say that it wasn't just her, there were lots of people involved. But I have to say that that particular group, all of those things it achieved were really down to Debbie either identifying the need or coming up with ideas, then doing all the organisation, and then taking the lead on the ground. Without Debbie, none of it would have been happened. But for all she did at that time, Debbie earned it and a Community Heroes Award from Tamworth Round Table. Myself and the other Borough Councillor for Kingsbury at that time, Brian Moss, were also really pleased to nominate Debbie for a Borough Council Community Award. Not long ago, we had Brian here and gave him along, made him an honorary alderman. I think if Brian were here tonight, he would really support Debbie's nomination. And I think when Brian decided that he was going to stand down as a councillor, did first wonder who might step in, and when Debbie came forward, she was the obvious choice to take over from Brian. And so he would have supported that, and he would have supported the nomination tonight. Debbie's lived in Kingsbury for 19 years and raised 3 children now. I think that's right, isn't it? 3 children. And she joined this council just 12 months ago, and at the same time she joined Kingsbury Parish Council. And at her very first meeting of Kingsbury Parish Council, may have been surprised, she became Vice Chair of Kingsbury Parish Council. And I have to say, I think probably becoming a Kingsbury Parish Council, I think you may have wondered what you got yourself into. It's been a difficult year for Kingsbury Parish Council. I don't need to go into why. It has been a difficult year, and because of that, a tremendous amount of work has fallen on the chair and the vice chair. But together, they've done a fantastic job of keeping the parish council going. And I think, having seen work that Debbie has done as vice chair of Kingsbury Parish Council, I think I have no doubt that she can step into to support our mayor here in exactly the same way that she supported the chair of Kingsbury Parish Council this year. Professionally, Debbie's a registered social worker. She's employed as head of operations at a community sector organisation in Birmingham. It's a big job. I know she reports to a board of 12 people. She often works late, and yet she always manages to get to council meetings. Always turns up to board meetings. Always turns up to parish council meetings, and takes on all that work that I've already mentioned. If I think of the term community spirit, it's people like Debbie who come to mind. All I can say is that community runs in Debbie's DNA. I've got no hesitation whatsoever in nominating her as our deputy mayor, and I'm glad to do so. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
There was a second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and congratulations on your appointment as mayor. And it gives me great pleasure to second the nomination for Councillor Debbie Bates to become our deputy mayor. I won't say a lot. All I will say is that I am confident. I've known Debbie only a short while, but I'm confident that she will be a great ambassador for North Warwickshire and a great support to you, Mr. Mayor, as your deputy. So I second that motion.
Are there any other nominations?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Congratulations on your appointment, and thank you very much for all your service over the last 12 months, especially attending Hans pump track opening. Honour for you to be there.
I only wish I could have ridden the bike.
So firstly, I'd like to nominate Katie for Deputy Mayor, Katie Hodley, Councillor Hodley. I've known Katie for many years now, and her dedication to her role as councillor in the last 12 months has been outstanding. She's actually really shocked me because she's stuck to the role. She absolutely has not flourished and is dedicated to it so much. Her dedication to the local community, whatever the issue, is also outstanding. Flooding, a fire, a missing child, or someone is stuck in a swing, Katie is always there. My main thing that I want to thank Katie for, and I think that, it shows her dedication to the community, is following the tragic loss of her son in a road traffic accident. We started up a road safety campaign, and Katie supported me, and we continue to fight for changes on our roads. And and also she started up Katie's Mates, which was providing mental health support for the local children in the community. And every single one of them children appreciate it so much. Somebody that they could speak to that wasn't a school teacher, or somebody like family member they could talk to, and she just got it, and all them kids absolutely adore her. But the main thing to say is Katie is always there, and she's always there with a helping hand, with sensible advice and a plan to fix the problem. And I think she'd be an amazing deputy mayor, so I'd like to nominate Katie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's seconded.
Thank you.
Councillor Rodley.
Congratulations. And I would also like to support Katie's nomination. She is passionate, dedicated, and brings energy to every situation she attends. She has already produced some amazing community work within not just Hartsdale but the wider borough. Her dedication to improving the lives of the people of Hartsdale and of our branch and of the borough, it is to be credited. And I believe that she would make an excellent deputy mayor, and she would lead with vigour and compassion, and would be a brilliant choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to speak? Or move to the vote? Oh, Steve, yes. Councillor Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and congratulations on your appointment, and also thanks to the outgoing mayor. I've had a couple of conversations with people in the last couple of days in the village when I said, oh, it's the annual meeting, and they said, what's that? I said, where you elect the mayor. And obviously we've had a lot of mayoral elections in the news recently, and people have thought, well, is that what you're voting for? And I said, no. And they said, oh, is it ceremonial? I said, well, no, because there's a role that's involved. And I was very happy to be able to vote for you, Mr. Mayor, for your appointment, because you've shown over the last 12 months, a fairness and always an informed decision, and being accessible and friendly. And I think that you'll be a fantastic ambassador for the borough. When it comes to the position of deputy mayor, I'm really conscious in situations like this that if you speak in favour of one person, it's automatically taken as against the other person. And that really isn't the case here. I've had the pleasure over the last 12 months to serve with both councillors have been proposed in this position on the Health and Wellbeing Board. And I think that we've done some really good work in that board and set a momentum to continue that work into the next 12 months. One thing about the position of Deputy Mayor, though, that I'd like to say is that it's around that accessibility. Councillor Bell made the point earlier about looking like a progressive borough. And the one aspect here that I think the Deputy Mayor is slightly more ceremonial because they might not get called into that active role of chairing meetings. And I think that the ability of going out there and engaging with different kinds of groups and using the position of mayor can open it up to different feelings. I'm going to say something now that's going to sound really bad, and I just can't phrase it in a different way. But I like the fact that actually we've got two kind of candidates there who are female, yeah, and amongst the youngest members that we have here, and the kind of thought to say, well, if they can do it, so can I. Kind of answer comes across as really bad, but I think that it makes us a lot more accessible, particularly at a time where we've given long service medals of 33 years and 25 years. I'm quite wondering, thinking, if I did 33 years service, my God, what kind of age are there? So we do need to be more accessible and make politics more accessible. I really, really think that we can have this position and use it more from that. And I'd like to see in future years, maybe, actually, if we look to build a lot more consensus around this before we actually get into the chamber, and look to see if we can use this position for greater accessibility and to try and promote the council in a more ambassadorial role. And because I feel right now that we've got two very credible candidates, and I don't want to vote against either of them. But I have to make the decision as to who I think might be able to do that role, and I'll be voting on the basis of that accessibility and building energy into our communities.
Anybody else? We can move to the votes. If I've understood it correctly, Councillor Bates was the first to propose, so we would vote on her nomination. If that gets a majority, then the second nomination clearly fails. Are we okay with that? So, can I ask, first of all, for a show of hands of those supporting Councillor Debbie Bates as Deputy Mayor? 3, 6, 8, 16, 17, 18. Is that a majority?
If you go through the rest of it, yes, it will be, but
so those who are either against or wish to abstain. Those against? Those abstaining?
Is that carried?
Councillor Bates is duly elected as Deputy Mayor. And you'll need to come on. You have to kick off his ass and come on side the book. Back. Yeah, so it's back benches.
Cheers.
I, Debbie Bates, here having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of North Warwickshire Borough Council, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it accordingly to the best of my judgment and ability.
Right, I'm going to try and take it apart, or I can try and drop it straight over. On your glasses. Right. Well done. Good.
First of all, can I just say a huge thank you to Andy and for the nomination and for what you said, and obviously everybody for the votes. I hope that I do deeply proud and work alongside Councillor Hayfield in the role of Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Thanks very much.
That's for you, and that's for your consort, whoever.
Thank you.
Right, agenda item 8 to receive the mayor's announcements. And this is going to be some of the things that I would have said earlier on. I'm not going to repeat them. In terms of a charity, I haven't absolutely decided yet. I'm thinking in terms of Diabetes UK, because I'm also thinking in terms of being a sponsored slim. Bearing in mind some of the uncalled for remarks about the reaching a certain age and weight to do the job. But I will make an announcement by email on that if all that shapes up. And I'll be looking for colleagues, certain ones in particular, to sign up to a sponsored slim as well in aid of that charity. So there'll be more on that. If I seem vague on some of these things, it's because I was also painfully aware that we are a home council and I wasn't going to take anything for granted until the hands had gone up in the air. It's been 50 years since the creation of the Borough Council, and it seems to me that we ought to mark that event somewhere. And I'm thinking in terms of a civic service at Shustoke, to which we might invite all past councillors that are still with us, where we can find them, to join us there for that, and put it open to anybody else as well. But I might be asking each of you to think back to your wards as to past councillors that you're aware of. We will have lists somewhere, I guess, of the who stood at the various, who was elected at the various elections. But as to whether they're still with us and if they are, where they are, we'll be looking for local intelligence to help us on that, to make sure we can be as inclusive as possible in trying to do that. My role is as a borough mayor. And to that end, I want to try and visit every ward in the borough at least once. So I'll be looking to you all to invite me as mayor to something going on in your ward, things going on in your ward, to see if I can try and attend and support whatever it is. I am by profession an archaeologist, a bit of a historian. The real professional historian sits up there, but I'm an archaeologist, and I want to try and visit every local history group in the borough. And again, if you have any such groups operating within your wards, I'd like to know about them and see if I can inveigle myself an invitation. 3 final points. First, my hearing isn't as good as it was, and I would ask you to speak up. Secondly, I am aware that this is going to be a general election year, and that some of you will have a great interest in that than others here. But I would ask you all to keep in mind this is a borough council chamber, and we should have plenty to keep us busy in the borough council without trying to make this a hustings from whichever side. So that's a plea for. And finally, there is a buffet available afterwards, to which you are all welcome. That's it. That's the best bit done. So now we're on to agenda item 9. To decide in accordance with Standing Order 23.2 the number of members on each of the following committees. And there is a long list of committees, and you've all been circulated with a proposal on the yellow pages, which covers both the boards and the subgroups, the working groups, etc. And my suggestion is, if there is agreement, the council, that we take those en bloc. Is there a proposal at the moment for the yellow pages as they are?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm proposing, obviously, A first, with the numbers, the status quo as in the last 12 months.
Are there alternative proposals? Councillor Wilson.
Thank you. Yes, as we discussed at length last year, and as you've already alluded to, this is a hung council by a very small majority. The detailed papers last year highlighted the fact that some of the wards did not represent, and we appealed last year for more consideration. And we would like to put forward a proposal to move for exec community environment, resources, UK SPF, and electoral review, including an extra Labour body. Thank you.
Is that second? Councillor Green. Okay. So having a bit now, whoever wants to. Anybody else want to speak on that before we move to some sort of vote on that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Councillor Gosling alluded to, we had this debate this time last year. You lost for the very simple reason that yes, it's close, but it's not close enough. If you want the same, the way it works, democracy is if you want to have the same number on a board as the controlling group, then you have to have the same number of councillors. You haven't, therefore. The status quo as I proposed this time last year, and I was proposing tonight with the numbers, makes perfect sense for democracy. That's how it works.
Anybody else want to speak on it? We're going to vote on the amendment.
So Councillor Ryrie, as the seconder, has a right to speak if you want to speak. If not,
Is there anything you want to say in the second? Councillor Gosling, anything you want to say?
Sorry, it's back to Councillor Wright as the proposal visual version, but I think it's Councillor Gosling to sum up.
Okay. You first. Jody second. Jody?
I have nothing further to add.
In which case, let's vote on the amendment first.
Amendment's clear what the amendment is. So it's an extra Labour member on exec senior board resources, UK SPF, in the electoral.
All those in favour of that amendment, please show. All those against, please show.
3, 4, 5, 6.
Abstentions.
That's 1518-1, so that's lost. So you retain.
So the amendment is lost, so we now move to the substantive motion that is on the yellow pages.
We just have an amendment to make. If we can just add 3 names to the climate change group. Councillor Gosling, Councillor Barnett, Councillor Ryrie.
That's the same number of positions for this changing.
Yes. Could we also exchange Councillor Phillips on the HS2 group with Councillor Taylor?
Okay, no.
And we'll add to the member performance of the next list.
Thank you.
We'll add 3 people to the member performance working group at a later date.
Thank you.
I have to go to the vote on the. Or do you want to speak first?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one amendment from the printed sheet, and that's the lead councillor on HS2. It should read Councillor Watson rather than Councillor Riley.
Okay, with those sort of minor adjustments, ask for all those in favour of the yellow pages.
All those in favour. 1, 2, sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Are there any against? Which gets any abstentions?
That's carried.
That's carried. Okay, thank you very much with that. Galloping towards the buffet. Item 10, appointment of the monitoring officer. And the council is asked to formally designate the interim head of legal services, Mark Watkins, as the monitoring officer. Is that proposed?
Mr. Mayor, I propose as printed.
Seconded. someone, anyone. Yes. Yes. Councillor Simpson's waving particularly.
I was seconding, maybe it's your eyesight that's not finishing as well as it is.
Anybody wish to speak on it? In which case, all those in favour, please show. Any against or abstentions? Any against? Any abstentions? Carried and on. Item 12, to authorise the chief executive in accordance with article whatever it is.
It's actually 11.
11. Oh, sorry, Jody.
Skipping me.
It was on a separate sheet of paper.
Obviously very angry for that button.
Well, that's true.
Mayor, I started a trend.
Hey, yeah, okay. Notice is a motion to consider the notice as a motion understanding order 10. And we have one from Councillor Gosling.
Thank you. Thank you. We brought this motion tonight with some amazingly delightful news that we are about to welcome on the first council baby that I know of in my time. And I know our previous leader, Adam Farrell, had his son whilst he was serving, but it's certainly been a while and not common occurrence. And with congratulations to Nathaniel Jackson on the imminent birth of her son on Sunday. I would like to use the opportunity to kind of update and consolidate some of our already existing policies by bringing forward a parental leave for councils and councillors amendment, which just clarifies the situation. It brings in some more up-to-date terms about kinship parents and other parental leave, which is available, and to ensure that councillors with children and other caring commitments are supported appropriately by this council. It's obviously, as a person who joined this council with a 3-year-old daughter, understanding how difficult it is to juggle all those balls and to know how important it is that we are inclusive and that we appeal to a wider demographic of our societies. I think this would be an important second stage. Thank you.
Is that second? Councillor Robinson. Does anybody want to speak on this? Oh, Councillor Robinson. Please do.
We'll all be pleased to know that I'm sitting on the end, so should Michaela need me as a midwife, we will be exiting discreetly. So ignore any noises that may follow.
Is there anybody else who wants to speak?
Joking aside, I second the motion. As I believe, as a council, we should be seen to be supportive, inclusive and a progressive body that aligns our policies and procedures with workplace gold standards and employment law, in particular with protected characteristics. And I think it aligns quite nicely with the speech that you made earlier as well, to, you know, be an inclusive council. So thank you.
Anybody else want to say anything on this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no issue with this at all, but I would just remind the chamber that we are not employees, we are councillors and we get an allowance. So, yeah, as I say, as far as the council is concerned, it won't make a blind bit of difference, to be honest. It will just have something written down on a piece of paper, because we you know, with the things that you've put in place or it's written down, we can do already. But just, you know, I would certainly never advocate that we have professional councillors. I'll just a note of caution to the chamber that this is really hearing. I mean, somebody you made the comment about employment. You know, we are not employees and never will be, hopefully, in my opinion. But I don't issue.
Just to align policy, that's the word.
Councillor Gosling, do you want to come back on this, or let's go to
No.
vote?
Thank you. No one to say.
Ask for vote then on this, please. All those in favour of this motion?
Unanimous, Mr. Mayor.
It's unanimous. Any dissent on this? No? Okay. Right, now, everybody's favourite bit. To authorise the Chief Executive in accordance with Article 1305 of the Articles of the Constitution to sign and seal on behalf of the Council any orders, deeds and documents necessary to give effect to any resolution of the Council, including any passed during the meeting to be held in private.
Chair.
Okay. Moved and seconded, all those in favour? Thank you. There, now you can go to the buffet. Thank you very much.
You've got time. Beautiful.
You didn't get a sandwich in.